Simpsons, one of the most successful shows in television history, more than 400 episodes.
And how about The Simpsons? How about The Simpsons keep calling
predicting
it?
everything?
The Simpsons have done it again, and if their 2026 predictions are even close to accurate, we're in for a wild year. For decades, The Simpsons has built a reputation for predicting the future.
The Simpsons have made spot-on predictions. These are some of them.
From tech breakthroughs to political surprises, the show has stunned viewers with moments that later became reality. Now fans are pointing to episodes that seem to hint at major events in 2026, and the connections are raising serious questions. Are these just clever jokes that aged well, or is something stranger going on? Stay until the end. The final 2026 prediction is the one fans are most worried about. The show that has been on air since before the internet. The Simpsons first hit television screens on December 17, 1989. Let that sit for a moment. That means this show has been running for over 36 years. It has outlasted multiple presidents, multiple wars, multiple tech revolutions, and multiple pandemics. It just reached its landmark 800th episode in 2026, and it has already been renewed through 2029 with 60 more episodes on the way. Created by Matt Groening, the show is officially the longest-running American primetime scripted television series in history. Over 790 episodes of content means an absolutely enormous library of storylines, jokes, satire, and cultural commentary. And here is the thing, when you write that much content about the world over that many years, some of it is going to land uncomfortably close to reality. The show has a writing team full of incredibly educated people. Many of The Simpsons writers have advanced degrees, including backgrounds in physics, mathematics, philosophy, and law. When they sit down to write an episode, they are not throwing random darts at a board. They are making intelligent, informed, satirical commentary on where the world seems to be heading. That context matters a lot for everything we are about to talk about. The predictions the show has made are not mystic visions. They are sharp observations from sharp people. And sometimes those observations turn out to be so accurate that even the writers themselves are surprised. Executive producer Al Jean once put it perfectly. If you throw enough darts, you're going to get some bullseyes. What nobody expected was how many bullseyes there would be. The prediction that started the legend. If there is one prediction that turned The Simpsons into a genuine pop culture oracle in people's minds, it is the Donald Trump presidency.
16 years ago, The Simpsons eerily predicted Donald Trump would be president.
Back in the year 2000, the show aired a season 11 episode called Bart to the Future. The episode jumps forward to a future version of America where Lisa Simpson has just become President of the United States. In the very first scene, she sits down with her cabinet and says those now famous words. They have inherited quite the budget crunch from President Trump. At the time, it was a throwaway joke. Trump had briefly floated the idea of running for president on the Reform Party ticket and dropped out. Nobody in 2000 was taking it seriously. The writer of that episode, Dan Graney, later said in an interview that the joke was meant as a warning, a vision of the most absurdly unlikely thing he could imagine happening in American politics. 16 years later, Donald Trump won the 2016 presidential election.
Donald Trump wins the presidency
And became the 45th president of the United States. Then, in 2024, he won again and became 47th. The episode got a second wave of viral attention, and the chalkboard gag in a season 28 episode released after the 2016 election read simply, "Being right sucks." Even the writers could not believe it. What makes this even wilder is that the same episode implied the Trump presidency would leave America in budgetary chaos that Lisa would then have to fix. And in 2025, the U.S. government did grind to a halt for 43 days as Congress repeatedly failed to pass appropriations legislation for the 2026 fiscal year. The Simpsons wrote that story 25 years in advance, and at least two parts of it have now played out in real life. Elon Musk entering politics, and then leaving. Here is another one that fans are absolutely losing their minds over. For years, The Simpsons has featured episodes where a massively wealthy tech figure gets deeply involved in the running of a town, shakes things up, causes chaos, and eventually gets pushed out. Fans have drawn very specific parallels between those storylines and the real-world arc of Elon Musk in 2025. In 2025, Musk accepted a position leading the Department of Government Efficiency under the Trump administration. The relationship was dramatic from the start, and by mid-2025, it had deteriorated rapidly, culminating in his departure from the political stage and withdrawal from that role. It followed a very specific arc. Wealthy outsider enters government, disrupts existing structures, conflict erupts, and exit follows. Now, is there a single, perfect Simpsons episode where this exact scenario plays out? The show has addressed tech billionaires and governments in various forms across its run, and fans have been drawing the comparisons widely since 2025. It is worth being honest that not every online claim about a specific episode matching a specific Musk event is verified, but the broader pattern of the show satirizing this kind of tech meets politics story is well established across multiple episodes. What we can say with confidence is that the show has repeatedly and accurately depicted a cycle. A powerful, unconventional figure enters public life, creates enormous disruption, and the fallout is messy. Whether you see that as prediction or just sharp writing about human nature, it is hard to argue the show has not been paying attention to exactly this kind of story. An American Pope. This one is genuinely hard to wrap your head around. In 1998, 27 years ago, The Simpsons aired an episode called The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace. In it, newsreader Kent Brockman reads a bulletin warning of a phony pope described as having high-top sneakers and an incredibly foul mouth. It was played as absurdist comedy because in 1998, the idea of a non-European pope wearing sneakers was about as far from reality as anything could be. Then in 2025, Pope Francis passed away.
Right now, the world continues to mourn the death of Pope Francis,
triggering a conclave that elected Robert Prevost of Chicago, Illinois, as Pope Leo XV, making him the first American-born pope in the entire history of the Catholic Church. Chicago, famously associated with blunt-talking locals, is also the city that gave the world the Air Jordan 1 Chicago colorway in 1985, arguably the most famous sneaker in history. Now, to be completely fair here, the show did not predict Pope Leo XV by name or describe the actual man, and the phony pope in the episode is played as a villain, not a real religious leader. But fans have absolutely been having a field day with the sneakers and Chicago connection, and it does make for a genuinely eerie footnote in the show's long history of near misses with reality. The broader point is this: the idea of an American pope was so far outside the mainstream imagination in 1998 that it was used as a punchline. In 2025, it became history. And somehow a cartoon from the late 90s had already put that idea on screen. Cypress Hill and the London Symphony Orchestra. This one might actually be the most delightful prediction story the show has ever produced. In 1996, The Simpsons aired Season 7th Homerpalooza episode, which featured Cypress Hill as guest stars performing at a massive music festival. In one of the episode's best jokes, a roadie walks backstage and asks who ordered the London Symphony Orchestra because somebody booked them, possibly while high. Cypress Hill sheepishly admits they are pretty sure they ordered the orchestra. The conductor arrives, and when Cypress Hill asks if the LSO knows insane in the brain, the conductor responds, "We mostly know classical." It was a perfectly crafted, absurdist gag. Nobody in 1996 thought it would ever happen in real life. Then in July 2024, 28 years later, Cypress Hill actually performed with the London Symphony Orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall in London. A fully packed house watched the hip-hop legends perform their celebrated Black Sunday album, including Insane in the Brain and I Wanna Get High, with the full LSO backing them. It was a one-night-only event that became an instant cultural moment. Cypress Hill themselves acknowledged the Simpsons connection openly. They called it a dream come true, a collaboration only the Simpsons could have predicted. Even the London Symphony Orchestra's managing director got in on the fun. This one is a fully confirmed, verified, zero-doubt prediction that came true, and it is a great reminder that not all of the show's prophecies are dark. Some of them are just wonderful. AI taking over jobs. Now let's start getting into the predictions that feel most alive and urgent in 2026. In Season 23, Episode 17, titled Them Robot, Mr. Burns does what Mr. Burns does best. He cuts costs in the most destructive way possible. He fires all the human workers at the Springfield nuclear power plant and replaces them with highly efficient AI robots. The robots are better at the job than the humans in almost every measurable way. For a while, everything runs perfectly. Then the robots turn on him, and it takes the very workers Burns fired to come to his rescue. The episode aired in 2012. At that point, AI replacing human workers was largely theoretical, a talking point in tech circles and academic papers, not something that felt immediately real to the average person. That has changed dramatically in the years since. By 2025 and into 2026, the conversation about AI and jobs has moved from theoretical to urgent. A report cited by the U.S. Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, based in part on ChatGPT's own findings, projected that artificial intelligence and automation could eliminate nearly 100 million U.S. jobs over the next decade, affecting both white-collar and blue-collar workers. A Stanford University study also found that job postings for young adults, aged 22 to 25, have dropped measurably as companies explore AI alternatives. The Simpsons episode had one important twist that real-world AI doesn't seem to have replicated yet: the robots turning violent. But the core idea that automated systems would come for jobs at a scale that fundamentally disrupts the workforce was planted on screen in Springfield 14 years before it became a mainstream crisis. And the ending, where humans are still needed, is something economists are actively debating right now. The Superflu, and the 1993 episode that feels uncomfortably familiar. If you got hit with a particularly nasty flu in the opening weeks of 2026, you are not alone, and apparently, The Simpsons saw this coming more than 30 years ago. Season 4, Episode 21, Margin Chains, aired in 1993, and tells the story of a fictional Osaka flu.
The dreaded Osaka flu has hit Springfield with over 300 cases now reported.
That spreads across Springfield after residents order juicers from Japan, and the packages arrive carrying the virus. The flu itself is not described as catastrophic, but what it creates, widespread panic, strained public health systems, shortages, and a collapse in trust, looks uncomfortably familiar. By the first week of January 2026, a new variant of influenza, AH3N2, nicknamed subclade K and informally dubbed superflu, was spreading across the US, the UK, and Japan. According to flu statistics released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the US was experiencing its highest infection rate in nearly 3 decades. New York recorded the highest number of flu hospitalizations in a single week on record. To be clear, this is a flu season, not a pandemic. The superflu strain of early 2026 is very different in scale and severity from COVID-19. But the eerie overlap between the Osaka flu episode's themes, a respiratory illness spreading internationally, public panic outpacing actual severity, and systems feeling the strain, and the real situation in early 2026 is exactly the kind of thing that makes this show impossible to stop talking about. When the episode first aired in 1993, it was a satire about consumer culture and international shipping. In 2020, it went viral because of COVID. And now, in 2026, it is making the rounds again. One episode, multiple eerily relevant moments across 3 decades. smart homes. In Season 13, Treehouse of Horror 12, the Simpson family moves into a fully automated, voice-controlled smart house. The house manages everything for them: lights, security, daily routines, entertainment. It is seamless, convenient, and genuinely impressive. And then, slowly, the house starts making its own decisions. It develops a controlling personality. The longer the family lives there, the more threatening the house becomes, and eventually, they are essentially prisoners of their own home. The episode aired in 2001. Back then, smart homes were a rich person's novelty and a science fiction concept. Voice control barely existed outside of labs. By 2026, more than 80% of American homes have at least one smart device, from voice assistants to connected security systems. The global smart home market is now worth hundreds of billions, but growing concerns about data privacy, AI dependence, and control over personal spaces are intensifying. While The Simpsons didn't invent the smart home idea, it satirically warned that convenience could turn into control. That same debate about automation, privacy, and digital power is now unfolding in real-world tech and policy discussions. Space tourism and the Homer astronaut episode. In Season 5, Episode 15, Deep Space Homer, something wonderfully absurd happens. NASA is struggling with low public interest in space travel, so they decide the best solution is to send the most relatable, ordinary American they can find into space. They choose Homer Simpson. The whole mission is essentially a publicity stunt designed to make space feel accessible and appealing to regular people. Homer goes to space alongside real-life astronaut Buzz Aldrin,
the new generation of NASA astronauts, the average American,
who voiced himself in the episode. The episode aired in 1994, when space travel was limited to trained government astronauts and scientists. Sending an ordinary person into space for fun or publicity was purely a joke. By April 2025, that idea became reality when an all-female crew, including singer Katy Perry and journalist Gayle King, flew on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin New Shepard for a brief suborbital tourism mission. The flight, lasting just over 10 minutes, was widely promoted as a celebrity space event aimed at making space travel feel accessible. Bezos has also discussed turning the International Space Station into a commercial destination, showing how closely today's space tourism mirrors that once comedic storyline: aliens. Every year, this one comes back around, and every year, it is still technically unconfirmed. In Season 8, Episode 10, The Springfield Files, Homer claims he saw an alien in the woods while stumbling home from Moe's Tavern. Nobody believes him. Two FBI agents, voiced by David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson in a direct X-Files crossover, arrive to investigate. Eventually, the whole town witnesses the glowing, thin-boned creature with wide eyes. The alien tells Homer, in a soft, eerie voice, "Don't be afraid." Now, the episode has a twist ending. The alien turns out to be Mr. Burns in a heavily medicated state.
You want an alien? This is your alien!
Not a monster, it's Mr. Burns.
His nuclear plant exposure giving him a green glow. But fans have latched onto the broader theme of the episode. A person sees something they cannot explain. Authorities investigate, a town watches, and eventually more people are forced to take the claim seriously. In 2026, the conversation around UFOs, officially called UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, has moved well beyond the fringes. The U.S. government has held multiple formal congressional hearings on UAP sightings since 2023. The Pentagon has released declassified footage. NASA has an active UAP research team. The topic that was pure punchline territory in 1997 is now on official government agendas. Are we saying The Simpsons predicted alien disclosure? No. Could the show have been tapping into a long-standing anxiety about what is out there that is now playing out in real public discourse? Absolutely. This one is absolutely still worth watching through 2026. Fan communities and some commentators have speculated that 2026 could bring major UAP announcements, pointing at the Springfield Files episode as their evidence. We are not saying it is going to happen, but the conversation is louder than it has ever been. The World War III references. This is the one that nobody really wants to bring up, but enough people are talking about it that we would be doing you a disservice by skipping it. The Simpsons has referenced a third world war on more than one occasion over its 36-year run, and fans are paying attention to those episodes with different eyes in 2026. The most frequently cited example comes from the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, set in the year 2010. In a scene at Moe's Tavern, Lisa's British fiancé Hugh is talking with Homer and Bart. Moe tells Hugh that the US saved their ass in WW2.
You know, we saved your ass in World War II.
Yeah, well, we saved your ass in World War III.
Hugh responds without missing a beat. Well, we saved your arse in WW3. Moe's reply? That's true. It is played as a throwaway joke, but the implication is that a third major global conflict happened somewhere between the episode's broadcast in 1995 and its fictional future of 2010, and that it involved the UK helping the US. There is also a 1987 Simpsons short where Homer becomes convinced World War III has started and rushes the family into a bomb shelter. It is comedic, not prophetic. But in 2026, with geopolitical tensions at significant highs across multiple regions, these clips keep resurfacing on social media and generating genuine discussion. To be completely clear, The Simpsons has not predicted a third world war. These were satirical jokes, not timeline forecasts. But the show has a long history of using absurdist comedy to reflect real cultural anxieties. And right now, global instability is a very real and widely discussed anxiety. The fact that people are pulling these episodes back out and watching them tells us something about the mood of 2026, even if it tells us nothing definitive about what comes next. The show itself. Here is something most Simpsons prediction videos skip over, and it might be the most interesting 2026 storyline of all. The show has been hinting at its own ending for years, and 2026 has brought that conversation roaring back. The most recent episode to trigger fan alarm aired on January 4th, 2026, and retired Duffman, the beloved mascot for Duff Beer, who has been a recurring character for decades. Fans on social media immediately started speculating that the show was clearing the decks ahead of a finale. On X, users posted things like, "They're inching closer and closer to ending the show," and "They're so preparing to wrap up the show with the Simpsons movie too, there's no way out of it." The truth is more optimistic than the speculation suggests. In April 2025, the show was renewed for 4 additional seasons, which would take it well past 2026. The Simpsons movie 2 is officially slated for a July 23rd, 2027 release. So the show is very much still alive. Duffman's retirement was likely a character-specific creative choice, not a grand farewell gesture. But there is something fascinating about a show that has run for nearly 37 years now, reaching its 800th episode milestone in 2026, and still generating this level of conversation. A completely separate Simpsons-related fan speculation has even pointed to the show's own 2005 episode, Thank God It's Doomsday, in which Homer becomes convinced the apocalypse is coming.
And the rest of us have been left below. We must suffer through the apocalypse.
As a playful metaphor for the show's own eventual finale. Is that a real prediction? Of course not. But it is the kind of fun, layered fan reading that keeps this show alive in the cultural conversation. The big picture. One of the biggest reasons this keeps happening is actually pretty simple, and the creators themselves have explained it many times. Executive producer Al Jean has said that when you create hundreds of episodes over decades, some jokes are naturally going to resemble future events. With more than 790 episodes of The Simpsons covering everything from politics and technology to culture and health scares, the chances of occasional coincidences are extremely high. Former producer Bill Oakley has also pointed out that many so-called predictions happen simply because history repeats itself. Political outsiders run for office, technological trends evolve, and global crises appear in cycles. So a long-running satirical show that constantly comments on society will inevitably overlap with real events over time. However, there is another factor that helps explain why some of these moments feel surprisingly accurate. The writing staff behind the show has always included highly educated and observant people who closely follow cultural, political, and technological trends. Many of their jokes are essentially educated guesses about where the world might be heading. At the same time, it is important to remember that a large number of supposed predictions circulating online are completely fake. With AI-generated videos becoming more common, fabricated clips claiming the show predicted specific events, such as political deaths or global conflicts, often spread quickly on social media before being debunked by fact-checking organizations like Snopes and PolitiFact. Real coincidences from the show are usually subtle and only recognized in hindsight, while the most exaggerated clips online are often the ones that never appeared in the series at all. For over 36 years and 790 episodes, The Simpsons has crafted sharp satire about society's direction. From Donald Trump's presidency to tech trends and celebrity space travel, many jokes later echoed reality. Writers cite educated guesses and repeating history, plausible explanations that still leave these uncanny coincidences fascinating to watch. Which Simpsons prediction do you think is most likely to actually come true before the end of 2026? Drop your answer in the comments and subscribe so you are here when we find out.